Bellicon has won a High Court case against the owners of Blackpool Football Club. A judge ruled that Owen and Carl Oyston didn't honour a gentleman's agreement over money to be paid to Mr Bellicon after he became a shareholder.
The Oystons must now pay him £31 million, which they say could threaten the club's future. Many fans, though, hope that the Oystons will now be forced to sell it. Well, Stuart Flinders is in the High Court. He joins us from London now. And Stuart, we're talking about huge amounts of money here, £31 million.
Well, it's more even than Mr Bellicon thought he was going to get, and it's the culmination of a long and bitter saga that dates back to 2006, when Owen Oyston and his son Carl, who've run the club for decades now, invited Valeri Bellicon, the Latvian businessman, onto the board. He bought a 20% share in the club with the promise, he said, of payments from the club's profits further down the line. The Oystons said there was no such gentleman's agreement, and that's why it ended up in court. And today the judge, Mr Justice Smith, ruled that Mr Bellicon should be deemed to be a 50% shareholder of the club. Now, he can't continue his involvement with Blackpool because he has been convicted this year on money laundering charges in Kyrgyzstan. So the judge's solution to the problem was to force the Oystons to buy him out, to pay £31 million to buy out his share of the club. This is what Mr Bellicon told me when I spoke to him after the hearing.
You know, it's unbelievable. It's great, really great.
Were you surprised at the amount that you were awarded?
Yes, seriously, yes. I'm really big surprised about the amount.
The Oystons, through their lawyers today, said that that amount of money to pay could jeopardise the club. What are your thoughts on that?
You know, it was a case against Oyston, not against club.
So where does this leave the Oystons now?
Well, they don't come out of it very well. In his ruling, the judge said that they self-evidently abused their majority powers to the detriment of both the Bellicon side and Blackpool FC itself. Of Carl Oyston, well, he described him as argumentative. He gave speeches rather than answering questions. An unreliable witness, said the judge, of his father Owen, capable of great charm, which he is perfectly capable of deploying to secure his own ends. The Oystons are not happy. They say that £31 million could put the club out of business.
Well, so what have the fans said about this?
Well, they're ecstatic, those who've been campaigning against the Oystons, who blame them for all the problems of the club in recent years. Many of them were in court today. They hailed Mr Bellicon as a hero, and they hope that now the Oystons will be forced to sell the club.
Fantastic. I think it's an emotional day. I feel as though we're in a position today where we might see the rebirth of Blackpool Football Club without Oystons as a family.
And yet the Oystons are warning through their lawyers today that that payment of £31 million could lead to the demise of the club.
It's they're bound to say that, but if there is a short-term demise, there will be a long-term gain.
We're hoping that this is the catalyst for the Oystons to realise that they're not wanted anymore, and we need new owners of the club.
Well, the Oystons say that they'll appeal against the ruling, and they have 28 days to pay the first £10 million.
Stuart, thanks very much indeed.